Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Talks. My name is Phil. That's Rob. And Bitcoin is sniffing at all-time highs. And we sort of predicted this, I guess, last week, right? We've been following
as predicted.
Well, maybe not exactly, but yeah, not doing too bad. We did pretty good in 2023. For those who remember, nailed every single bounce. But yes, so obviously, if you're in the crypto market, you know things are absolutely insane right now. Things are moving. Bitcoin is moving, and some of the other stuff is following. And I hopefully everybody's bags are packed and just enjoying the ride at this point. And something we want to preface before we actually go into doing TA, because this is TA Monday. At this point, technical analysis is pretty much pointless, and it comes down a lot more to fundamentals right here. What we mean by that is we're currently at all-time highs, right? We're at 67K, 66.5 right now. We did go to 67.5, and now it's kind of hovering there around the all-time high. And the reason why we say TA is useless here, because once we break through, okay, there is not really much we can do in terms of trend lines using indicators and Fibonacci levels. Yes, we can use them, and we can find maybe some random line somewhere in the sky up at 100K or whatever. The problem is that we can't correlate it to historic price behind it, right? So I'll open up my screen real quick here, and I'm not drawing anything on this. Actually, I've hidden it, but as you can see, like this, we got stuck here for a while because we had this top, right? We could predict that because there was price action history. We're getting stuck at all-time highs right now because we're sitting at that, right? Once we break above this, there's nothing behind us to look for. So we can only use the tools that work, maybe like oscillators, like the RSI, for example. We can use Fibonacci extensions and all these things to find maybe some random line up in the sky, but it's only one line. There's no correlated, there's no confluence there from anything else. So it's going to be very hard for us to give you a I guess, resistance level that we can say we think it's going to stop here. But what we can say and what we can do is we can make some predictions of scenarios that we might see. So we might see 3 or 4 scenarios that might play out, and it might be psychological, numbers like 100K. It might be a Fibonacci extension level, and that might be it. But we want you to try to take all that in and make up your own mind whether that's going to be somewhere you might want to sell, or maybe open a short position, or whatever you want to do. Okay, so obviously not financial advice here, and we will explain what we will do, for example, and then if you want to do that, then go ahead. But remember, we didn't tell you to do it. Right? so let's do you have any words, Rob, before I go into the so-called TA that we're going to try to attempt to do here?
Not really. I think overall, maybe just a quick venture, if we can just slip onto my screen.
Yes, we can.
Which is, although Bitcoin is all-time high, if you take a look at the total market cap from the bottom, a 3,000% pump. In fact, now if I go wick to wick, 3,800% pump in 2020, 2021. Currently, we're at 138%. This market
so
is just warming up, and this is something we keep being right as it happens. We specifically kept saying multiple times that yes, the ETF narrative, but not only that, the overall narrative of money and the way that money has been handled over the last few years is a driver towards Bitcoin adoption, day by day, accumulator by accumulator. And so Bitcoin was likely to be leading the way because its fundamentals, far more than its technicals, were very set up. The crypto market is not particularly exciting right now. AI has come along and stole the show, but every single AI crypto is basically a meme coin. It's vaporware. There's no substance to it. There isn't any product yet. And so that narrative hasn't come to fruition. We saw the metaverse narrative in 2021. That was very big. But then how many people are using the metaverse yet? Nobody. We that's not to say that the metaverse side and that aspect is a failure. It's going to be absolutely gigantic. Anybody that thinks it's not going to be is an idiot. Anybody that thinks NFTs aren't going to be way bigger than they were in 2021 is an idiot. This is a growing market.
Yeah.
But right now, no, there isn't anything driving the market. There are no real fundamentals. You've got the likes of Solana that has been performed very well, Render that's performed very well, Injector that's performed very well. These are projects that have launched and have been used. They had a horrific dump during the bear market. They were oversold or they launched late. And yeah, they're now bouncing back to where they should be. Most coins are doing exactly what they should do. They're following the adoption curve that they deserve, which is probably very little. Now, that doesn't mean they're not growing. That doesn't mean that explosive growth can't come out of the blue. So we have to bear that in mind, and we have to consider that, yeah, this is a market that's just warming up. And if you do the research on the fundamental coins that are going to outperform, then you can do incredibly well. And don't think you've missed the boat, because this is the boat. Crypto is bigger than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is an incredibly sellable narrative, and it has a global audience. Your shitcoin does not have a global audience.
Yeah, I was just about to say when you said, this is the boat, and yeah, that's true. Everybody who got in 2022, bear market bottom, and during 2023, that's the staff working on the boat, and now the passengers are hopping on basically, and that's the retail.
Yeah.
That's what's starting to happen now with the ETF coming out, and the hype is starting to come out. Once we break the all-time high and we start moving there's going to be so much talk at just for me looking at when I'm at work and I talk to people, we have people not talking about Bitcoin in the lunchroom yet, but they come to me one-on-one and they ask, oh, how's your crypto bag going, because they know I'm in crypto, and I'm like, thank you for asking. Really well. It would have gone really well for you too if you bought at 15K when I told you to, or 16 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so those people that have been spoken to by me, Rob, Jay, for example, our research guy and editor, by the way, and everybody else who's in crypto, everyone who you have been talking to and told them, oh, you should buy, they're going to start coming to you now and saying, hey, how do I get into this thing? And then the talks at the lunch table, in the break rooms, everything is going to start happening, and that's when we go absolutely apeshit.
This is the get out sign when people are talking about it, because that's it. Like, Bitcoin has been crawling up to all-time highs for over a year, and nobody's been talking about it. I have had 2 people text me who haven't spoken to me in probably a year, months at least, out the blue. Crypto's doing well, isn't it? What's going on? How did your bag do? How did you buy more? Blah, blah, blah. Both of them sold 2022. Hold 0 crypto currently. Both of them. And it's just, I knew this would happen. I knew it was, and I was waiting for these people to arrive. And so here are the first people. Here are the people who are already in crypto, who already have exposure, that left and now regret the decision. They're the first to come back because they pay more attention to it.
Yep.
And I had another guy who was like, Bitcoin's doing well, so yeah, okay. And he was put off by another colleague of mine. The colleague is now working in cybersecurity, and unfortunately, it was 2013, 2012, back really early, when it's like, can it be trusted? And that was a very valid argument right now.
Yep.
Back then, that was absolutely a valid argument. Was it maybe worth him throwing $500 into it and buying a whole Bitcoin? Yes. But that was a speculative bet. There was no guarantee that it would happen. Now the returns are much lower in percentage terms, but they're a lot more reliable.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is really right now betting on Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin with a view that they are going to lose all their money. There is
Yeah.
a confidence to this market which I've never seen before.
Yeah, no, for sure, and especially with we getting all these instruments from BlackRock and everything. Now it's mainstream deluxe. Like now it's there. We're there now. And
Yeah.
now we're gonna have to see what happens when the rest of the world starts waking up to it for real. And either way, let's actually open a chart here and start looking at this. So this is the weekly charts on Bitcoin. Previous bear. Well, actually, I guess this is previous bear, but yeah, 2 bear markets in a row here. And as you can see, we're sniffing this top here. And we're really kind of stuck up here. And I just realized I opened the wrong charts. Here we go. We are hoping to see this type of RSI move that we're getting here. And this is something that Rob, I think, talked about really early, right? That we're going to see this kind of just jump up and down and get this really prolonged, bull market. If we get that now, I mean, that would be nice. If we could just continue going on like this. And my first scenario, I'm going to put back all the drawings here. This is the old chart that everybody knows. And I think it's time to remove our trusted trend lines right here. Going to keep the big ones just because we have one that might be a good resistance actually. But the vertical line here, by the way, is now I'm doing that thing again with the mouse, is the Bitcoin halving. It's going to be on the 18th, it's 45 days left. It's going to be on the 18th of April, where we have the supply from 900 a day Bitcoin mined to 450. If that's going to have a major impact or not, I'm not sure anymore, because the ETFs are already gobbling up about 10,000, let's say between 6,000 and 12,000 per day, being bought up by the American ETFs that were just released, which is a lot more than the 900 being mined. And then that's just those ETFs. Then we have retail's buy pressure. We have all the other ETFs in Asia and Europe and all these things. So the OTC supply is gone. It's gone. Okay. Essentially, we can count it as gone at this point. And if we remove 450 Bitcoins from that OTC buying, over the counter buying that the ETFs usually do from miners directly, I don't think it makes much of a difference now, because the buy pressure that we're getting now from global buy pressure overall is just so massive that the halving, if anything, is going to have a psychological effect. It's going to be like, okay, the people with some experience like us here and like you watching, maybe that will have some kind of psychological effect on people. But I don't think in terms of supply crunch, it's not really going to make much of a difference, because it's already being eaten up at like a 20x at this point of what's being mined. So that's that. But so for just to zoom in just a tad here and just give you the first kind of TA that we can actually still do at this point. So we've broken out. We were talking about last week how we were going up in, like, we get these bull flags where we get the flagpole and then a little bit of a flag and then up and then to the side and then up again. That's played out, and that's probably what's going to carry on happening for a while here, I think. Remember, that's the keyword here, we think. But this blue line right here is the long-term fib level that is on a weekly candle close. And the reason why we put it on a candle close on the weekly is because it's such a long term, and the wicks don't really matter that much at this point. The weekly close is where people decided that this is where the price stopped, and that's what's important here. And currently we're above that, which is good. So if this week closes above that, we have a new all-time high, technically, for the weekly close, which is bullish in my mind. Obviously, we're already in a very bullish uptrend here, but that's going to be one of the keys that I look for a continuation. The same way that this green line right here is the absolute all-time high on Binance, at least, which is quite literally exactly 69K, which is kind of funny to me. I zoomed in on the 1 minute chart. I'm not joking. And I zoomed in, and I tried to zoom for probably 5 minutes, and then I just put the line on that. So it's actually dead on 69K. So that's cool. If we go above this and close above that, then we have an actual all-time high in terms of where the price has been before. So those two here, we want to see a close, at least a daily close in my book, above that, and then I'll be kind of happy to see the rest of that week continue up, maybe a little bit, or maybe a lot. But that's where our resistances are, and after that, we really don't have any real resistance until I can't believe I'm saying this, but a 155K, in terms of like a line, right? And then we just have this long-term trend line, which is, it's depending how long it takes. I mean, it's very, very
steep.
Like
that is it. You've got, on a logarithmic scale, that line is not straight. That line is getting steeper and steeper and steeper every single day. And it's
it's crazy at this point, really.
At this point, this is it. We can't turn around and tell you where the price will stop. We can make estimates. This is the point where you look at, oscillators become important. You look at momentum dying off on larger terms, larger time frames, because this doesn't stop. This is not going to take weeks to turn around, because imagine if it dips now and then dips again and dips again. How many days worth of dip do we need before people stop buying it? So momentum has to turn around, has to take time to turn around. And right now, momentum is only one way. The demand is off the chart. And if you are selling your Bitcoin here, then you are a word that would get us taken off the platform.
We're not going to tell you not to sell here, but selling here, the only reason I would see somebody sell here is if you think that we're going to fail here at all-time highs and correct back down to somewhere. And that brings me to the next, the next point here, because we're talking about the really close TA that we can actually do here. This is resistance. The rest is just, there's nothing there. Downwards, though, the first support I can find, if we're discounting this little here, because that wouldn't even be a correction. If we were to correct from right here, this top, let's say this fails here, the next real support I have is a 22% correction, which is something that we always tend to see in Bitcoin in the past year and a half, something like that. We had a 21% here, 21% here, 20-something% here. This, I believe, was 20% as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'm actually going to have to check that. 21%. And if we get that correction, okay, happy days, completely normal. The only reason for me to sell here or get out of a long position would be if I think that was going to happen. If you think that, go ahead and do that. If you think it's not, then keep holding on to your position. That's all I can say. I would say, though, that if we do correct down to here, I'm not expecting it to go just to 52. I think that would be a little bit... It's such a small support level right here. Actually, no, it's not. Sorry, I remember we got these two peaks here. That could possibly be where it would bounce. Is that going to be enough to move the RSI? Because we talked about how the RSI is now an very important indicator. Because, like I said, there's nothing above us to tell us where to stop. We need the RSI to kind of come back down and bounce on some line somewhere. Maybe it's at 70. Maybe it's at 50. Historically, we tend to bounce around 50, 55, 60 maybe, and then close to the, if there's a big correction down at, 30 or below 30. And, you don't even have to, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago, and I think every time, you don't need to correct price downwards, right? You don't need to go down in price, in a big way to get the RSI to correct down, right? Because if you're looking at this right here, if you remember sitting here and watching this go up and up and up, slowly chugging, it was a trend line here too that was kind of hitting his head on. But the RSI went from up here all the way down to went all the way down to 53 and essentially bounced on the midline while the price was still up. And this is absolutely something that can happen here. I would probably see a breakout from the all-time high first, and then maybe go along, chugging along until the halving maybe, before we move up again, potentially. But like I said, we're not here to give you sell here, buy here, advice. We're here to tell you, here's what we're seeing, and this is the scenarios that might occur. And then it's up to you to keep your mind wherever you want in terms of those. But yeah, it's the momentum is too high right now. I'm having trouble seeing a failure here, to be fair.
It is as you're saying. So with the inflows we're currently seeing, this is on a one-way path. It literally doesn't matter. However, we have to consider how maintainable the inflows are. Now, I'm fully expecting on the back of this a blow off top. I don't know where that's going to be. This is the thing. Nobody really knows where Bitcoin's fundamental value is right now. Everybody's buying the ETF, spot Bitcoin, whatever Bitcoin they can get, futures Bitcoin. Both of us are getting, have got futures contracts exposed, and we're currently paying for those. They're in profit, but we'll get onto why it's not always such a good thing. Is that everybody wants Bitcoin exposure, and at some point the market runs out of that exposure, and those people that have been waiting patiently that opportunity, they will short, and they will absolutely slam the price down, and the rejection from wherever it tops out will be phenomenal. I can just, that is the only prediction that I can give, is that at some point we are probably going to have a 20 or 30% wick, and that could be in 2 or 3 days time, where we see 100k and it batters itself all the way back down to 70. That could be the kind of scenario we see. Nobody knows. I wouldn't like to put a prediction on it, but right now everybody's buying, nobody's selling. When that buy momentum starts to run out, the people who have been waiting to sell, if they sell all at once and they punch through what limited support that we have, you see a very big downtrend. And there's an analogy that is very apt here, that I like to mention when people talk about price action and why TA matters. It's a really good analogy, which is, think of support and resistance lines as battlefield lines, as trenches, as military setups, as minefields. And so what do you have over time? If you've got a brand new battlefield, there's a scramble. Nobody knows where the battle lines are. People move here and there, and eventually it works itself out into some sort of order where everybody knows where the buyers and sellers are, essentially, where each side of the each opposing army sits. And the longer and longer this battle gets drawn out, the more and more entrenched it gets, and the more fortified positions become. And if it's a fortified position, it's going to take a much stronger military, i.e. more buy pressure, to come in and take down that fortification and beat through those defenses. Now, if you're at a point where you've beaten through every single defense, you're now in open territory. You're in enemy territory. You don't know where the enemy is. All you know is there's no fortifications anywhere. There's no enemies that you can see. All you're seeing is the odd random person that you pick off. That's fine. That works for a while, and you're storming forward and making great progress, until you suddenly come across the enemy army, look behind you and realize you've left everyone else behind. There aren't any other buyers there. Your army has deserted you because they've already been caught up. They're hungry. They've set up. They've stopped marching with you. There's only so many men that can keep pushing forward. At that point, you get absolutely mullered, and that army turns around and marches the exact same way you've just come, beating back all of the very weak fortifications that you've built along the way. It's a great analogy.
Yeah, that's one of the best things you've said, I think.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's a great analogy, because it really does explain. Right now, we are the army marching forward, but we need to keep deploying troops, ammunition, supplies. We have to keep buying in order to keep pushing. We have a finite amount of supply. We've only got so much cash that we can keep piling onto the market.
Yeah, and
eventually
it's like,
we run out.
And looking at that, using your analogy, I mean, I suppose the all-time high is where the battle command is, and then if you take that down, then yeah, we do have nothing up there. And I remember I pulled a little fib level here because it's the only thing I could think of to find any type of near potential sell pressure that we might see. And so I'll take this and I'll go from when the ETF opened. If you remember, if you were here then, we had a, like, on the day, I think we had a pump up to 49K. And then after that, it just collapsed because GBTC holders started selling off and, you know, moving over to other cheaper fees and all these things. And it was right around this fib level that we have here. I don't know if you can see it, but we have a green line here, and then just above we have a gray fib level just above it there, right there. Oh, sorry, right there. Either way, if we pull the fib level now from here to the bottom, we get some predictions upwards, right? We broke through this one, 56.9, and we also are on our way up to 72,351, whatever. Let's say 72K. Maybe if we break through, that will be some sort of resistance. But honestly, if we break out and close a daily or even a weekly above all-time high, there, like we just explained with the battlefield thing, the little fortification you have here is nothing. It's nothing. Yeah. And not a lot of people will have pulled this and thought that, oh, I'm going to sell at 72.
So there is one extension to the analogy, which is that some sides, some people on the battle are committed to one side, and others are committed to the other side. So, you know, we would like to think that, you know, we are committed to the buy side. We are going to buy and hold and support this army all the way through its journey. On the other side, you have Peter Schiff on his own.
He's sitting there with a potato cannon trying to shoot people.
Now, the problem is there is also a third group of people, the traitors, the ones who will readily and happily switch sides with the wind, depending on which side they think is winning, also known as traders. And yeah, we are traders. We do partake in trading. We are substantially long exposed. You know, we are holders largely, but yeah, we like to put our perceived skills to the test and try and make a little money. And yeah, when we look at it and we go, this is getting ridiculous, this is going to turn around and dump hard, I may short the shit out of it. So yeah, and at that point, the army, a lot of that army defects all at once to the other side and takes all of their freshly taken ammo. They go, look at all this food and all this ammunition I've got. Here you go, shorters. Would you like it? Come on, let's go and beat them back.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a straightforward game, and it's not a game to be ideological about, because the realities are, sometimes the other army is bigger than yours.
Yeah, and I'll say this though, just to give some sort of like, not financial advice, but like personal advice to people that are here. So I know there's a lot of experienced people here. I can see the names. I can see, for example, I see Silvio, I see Imre, I see Kavik, and you know, a lot of people are experienced. A lot of other people are intermediates, and then we have a whole plethora of people that are just coming in that are completely new, right? And they will go in with the mindset of a trader because they don't understand the long-term thing, right? They buy something, it goes down, they're going to panic and sell. That happens, right? But if you are new, here I'll start with the new people. If you're new to this game of you know, Bitcoin and crypto and trading and investing overall, take the long-term mindset, okay? And this is going to save you from a lot of pain. You're still going to feel pain. You're still going to go through the pain of buying at 67K and then seeing it go down to 50, for example. But that's okay. Don't take everything you have and put it into Bitcoin right now. Put some in here if you don't want to miss out, if you think it's going to go higher. And then just every time it slows down, put a little bit in. If it slows down, put a little bit in. If it goes down hard, put a little bit in. Just have that mindset if you're new to this. If you're more experienced or an intermediate, I would shy away from trading here because we don't know if it goes down hard or goes up hard. I would be careful about trading here. I wouldn't do leverage at least, right? And if you are experienced, if you have done this a lot and you know what you're doing with stop losses and all these things and trailing stops and all these more advanced things, then yes, absolutely go ahead and do whatever you want, because you know what you're doing at this point, hopefully. But don't try to don't think you are a good trader. You have to know it. I know I'm a good one, okay, because I've made 2,000% so far this year. I know I'm good at this. I've proven it to myself. That's why I did it this year. I put $100 in, and now it's 2,000, just to prove to myself that I can do it. And now I have. I'm still very
and
careful.
Now he's a full-time trader.
No, absolutely. No. I'm still extremely careful. And that's coming from somebody who's made 2,000%. Just keep that in your head.
And on the same the same front, and on the similar vein, I know that I'm a good analyst, but I'm not a great trader. I'm good within certain contexts. So what I've done, and this was quite apparent because, say, at the start of the year, me and Phil made up a little, started a little competition, and I've traded futures for a long time, but I started this pot, I moved the pot in with him, and he made 2,000%, and I absolutely completely blew my pot within the first month, having made about, I think I was up to about 180 from the 100, and then I got caught on the wrong side. But that was, to me, that was my degen play pot. That was me trying to have a laugh. I have a more serious futures pot, in which case I've been trying to trade and build up profits for, well, most of the year. And so that's like, I have a very, very different way of looking at the market and a different way. So whereas like now we can move on to that, where I'm starting to think and get worried about my position, not because of the price going up, but simply because of the funding rates. And I know, Phil, you said this is something we've had a chat about, and it's become very apparent over the last few days. And so just like to give a sort of a bit of an example for people who don't know what funding rates are. Funding rates are a feature that are present on perpetual futures markets, so Bitcoin futures, any crypto futures that has that's paper traded. You're not trading the real crypto. And in order to keep the price as close as possible to the spot market, there is this mechanism called funding rate, whereby if the price starts to deviate on the futures market because too many people are longing, you can long with a lot more buying power on futures than you can with the spot market. So rather than buying a 1 ETH long, I can open up a 10x leverage and open up a 10 ETH position. So if too many people do that, what's going to happen to the order book on the futures market? It's going to get pushed up higher and higher and higher. So to counteract that, the funding rate goes up. And the funding rate is essentially a fee that the people who hold an open position either pay or receive from people holding the opposing position. So if you have a positive funding rate, then if you hold a long position, you will pay every either 1 hour or 8 hours, depending on the exchange, you will pay a certain fee. And typically that's 0.01% every 8 hours is the figure that Binance, that's called neutral. That would be what the normal funding rate is, because there is always more longers than shorters. And that works out to be about, if my memory serves me correct, I've not worked out, about 11.6%. So, have I gone? And no, so is the, yeah, that's cool. I froze up a sec. And so 11.6% a year. Well, if I'm trading on multiple times leverage and I'm making profits that are multiples of what I would be, I can handle that. That's fine. However, currently, the funding rate on Binance, I checked it a few minutes ago, but I forgot it.
I can tell you that on KuCoin it's 0.15.
0.15. Wow. See, I'm paying 0.045 on Binance. So, yeah. So there's two things to notice here. One, 0.045 is, I can just do that.
I'm gonna have to double check now.
0.0045 times 365 times 3. So that's 50% per year. So right now I'm paying essentially 50% interest to borrow my open position. So to keep that position open is costing me 50%. Now, when Bitcoin's going up and it's moving up like it currently is, that's fantastic, because 50% a year is fine if I've got a multiple leverage position and I'm making 50, 60% in a day or two. But when Bitcoin starts moving sideways, that can really start to eat into your profits, because as much as I said that's 50%, as you said there, Phil, your funding rate is about 3 times higher than mine.
Sorry, it's actually not that bad. Well, it's bad. It's 0.12. So it's almost 1.5, but yeah, that's a lot.
Still, that's still roughly 2.5, 3 times what that is. So that means you're paying over 100% per year in basically fees to keep that position open. So you have to keep making money and rely on the price going up. Otherwise, you have your position basically chewed away. The profits get actively chewed away, and it can get really, really extreme sometimes. And it's just something to bear in mind that what this does, if everybody is max long and they're pushing the price up and they're buying futures no matter what, that opens up a huge opportunity for shorters. And they can cause a massive long squeeze very easily, because all of these people that are piling on longs at essentially what is literally the all-time high here. Well, what happens if it doesn't break the all-time high?
Exactly.
It can. And if all these people suddenly get caught in a hole and they've got 5, 10x leverage on their positions, and the price moves down 10, 15%, you start to see an ungodly amount of cascading liquidation. And I am absolutely certain, without any doubt at all, we are going to see this at some point. I don't know when. It could happen now. It could happen literally at any point. We can see a 10, 15, 20% drop in Bitcoin. If you see it, my God, buy it. But it's something you have to be wary of, because if you're not wary of it, and especially if you've got a leverage position, then you will get absolutely wrecked. And if you've got a spot position, it will terrify the hell out of you. And especially I would just like to point out that so I would just like to point out the first time, I can speak from pure experience with this, that the first time I ever bought Bitcoin was in August 2017, and it was at $4,600. The price then moved up to $5,000, and it then crashed to $3,000 within about a week and a half of me holding. I was 40% down, and I shit myself. And in doing so, I didn't sell it, because I was like, okay, yeah, cool, well, I bought it now. But I didn't buy any more. What I should have been doing was waiting patiently with that money for a dip. Because even if it had carried on going up and up, that 40% drop would likely have taken it below the price that I ended up paying for it. So don't be afraid to buy. We'll always say this, there's nothing wrong with just DCAing. If you've been buying for the last 2.5, 3 years, congratulations, you won. So that's the game. That's the way to play the game if you don't want to, take excessive risk.
I've just realized something just now. I just now realized this. I got into Bitcoin and crypto quite late compared to Rob and Jay, who's on our team as well, and a lot of other people I think is here as well. I think Imre got in a bit earlier than me as well. I think 2018, I remember. But I just realized this is the price that I first bought. I remember buying at 67K, almost dead. It's I just put $100 in because I was starting to learn about Bitcoin, and I thought, okay, I want to try to buy some Bitcoin. I opened an Exodus wallet. I remember I got an account at, I think, Kraken, and I put in $100 just for fun because I wanted to learn about crypto. And it was a 67K dead. I remember it. I just remembered it now. So you can imagine my horror being it was just $100, but being completely new to the crypto space. And then I'll open the charts here and show you, because it was right here, I think.
Nice.
Oh, wait, it was 64. It must have been 64K. I remember buying that top. 64K must have been 64K. So I bought there, and it just did that the day after, basically. And I was like, okay, so I guess I'm learning what a dip feels like because I've heard about dips. And then it pumped a little bit, and then it made that. And I was like, okay, I'll start my journey in a bear market. So my first learning curve was how to layer in as it was going down and lowering my cost basis. That was my first lesson in crypto, learning how to cost basis in. And that was great because I sold a bunch of it that I accumulated around here, which was good for me. And then after that, we just gone through that whole bear market again. So I've experienced big ouch, yay, and then crap, and then this is cool, yay. So I'm fairly new to this. Like, I'm admitting this, but if you haven't been able to tell yet, everyone who's been watching us for the past year and a half, I'm a super nerd. Okay, I spend 12 hours a day looking at charts, learning more about TA, learning more about fundamental analysis on chain. I'm a nerd. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm guilty. So I've probably learned more than most people do in 4 years than what they do in 10 years. And that's just the way it is. But either way, getting a little bit off track here. And yeah, Kavik, I met you back in, or Jay, I met you back in when I was completely new. You were the first person who actually held my hand in the first dump. And I got through it. So go Jay. Everybody, let's appreciate Jay in the chat here. Go Jay.
Let's super appreciate Jay, as he was the person who introduced the two of us. So
it's actually
absolute max appreciation for Jay. This channel would not exist without Jay. Jay is the alpha and the omega and the center of the universe that is Crypto Talks.
I'm gonna add him to the stream for a second so he can wave and say hi, and then I'm gonna remove him again just for funsies. You ready, Jay? I can see you're leaning back. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, he's muted. Oh, damn it.
What's up, everybody?
Oh, no. There he is.
There he is. The myth, the legend.
Yeah.
It's the bird. It's a plane. No, it's Jay.
Hey, I get around.
Yeah. Well, you'll be able to talk to us three in our Discord, by the way. So
yeah,
Jay, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone now, Jay. I'm sorry, I just had to do it. There we go. So that's Jay, one of the dudes behind the scenes that do cool stuff with us every day, and we love his face. So
and we pay him in hugs.
Yeah, we pay him in hugs and high fives and I guess moral support or whatever, because that's what he pays us into. So
yeah.
But yes, the TA for today, like, again, if we break through the all-time high, yeah, we got maybe a fib level here at 72 and then one at 106, but the 100K mark, yeah, that's a psychological level. Beyond that, we don't really know. We can go wherever and top out, but then I'll say this though, if we top out above there somewhere and then start trending down, there's going to be absolutely massive support at previous all-time high, which is where we are at right now because of that. Just so you know that. So personally, if we break above and it starts downtrending, I'm putting a massive buy order at 70, right? Front running that, and that's just me. So we'll see. But I don't know. I feel like I wanted to say some more stuff. I think you went through that in the beginning with the market cap, and Bitcoin is also currently at $1.32 trillion market cap, which is a new all-time high for Bitcoin in terms of market cap. Yes, the price is lower, but that's because there's more Bitcoin now, so that's why. But yeah, I feel like we've kind of gone through everything we actually can here. Like, I'm sorry, we can't really give you more than this, but it's honestly, if we sit here and pretend like we can give you more than this, then we're lying to your face, and I don't want to do that.
I think there's maybe, you can just end it on a final thought, which is that if you look at this right now, if you have done nothing but buy and hold Bitcoin, every single person in the history of Bitcoin who has done that is currently in profit.
Yeah,
every single one of them, all of them, 100% of those people. And as much as we don't necessarily take our own advice, as we say, like, we've been in this market for thousands of hours. This is my third bull market. I'm not playing the same game that I would say to somebody who's just fresh in the market. Absolutely not. Like, don't try and think you are good, because you are not. I don't think I'm good, and I've been here for bloody ages. So stick to the simple, boring stuff. It is better to make half a fortune than it is to make a fortune and lose it.
Yeah, exactly. And this brings us back to the things that we always say. Learn who you are as a trader. Learn what your time preference is. Make sure you understand how you feel about various time frames. All these things, you got to put the work in. Like, yes, if you're new, it's going to take you maybe a year, but that's okay. Like, it's okay. You're going to have to go through the roller coaster of crypto. You're going to have to go through the euphoria of a big pump, and then thinking, oh, should I sell? Should I sell? Should I sell? You're gonna have to go through the, oh crap, I should have sold feelings. You're gonna go through the, oh damn, I sold and now it's pumping feelings. All of these things, we can tell you about these things every day, but until you've experienced it, that's it.
I can tell you that exact thing both me and Phil have experienced in the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
We've both prematurely closed positions and looked at it and gone,
damn it,
shit. Yeah. But you can't sit there and beat yourself up over it. And we don't, because there's always another trade. You've just got to wipe it off. You look at it and you go, I didn't actually lose money then. I just made a lot less than I should have. So you still won. You're still playing the game. So decide what game you want to play, stick to it, but don't try and play a game that is beyond your level. Start with level 1. And level 1 is get some exposure, learn the market, and understand what it is that you're buying and why you're buying it.
Yeah, and I do have some tips for everybody. If you're new, join the Discord, come talk to us. We're more than happy to sit there with you and explain everything in detail, because we can't do it all live like this. That would take ages. We're happy to sit in Discord, at least I am, and I don't know about Rob, but we're more than happy, and I know Jay is happy to sit there and discuss things with people and explain everything, how it works, how to do this, how to do that, how to open an account, how to trade, whatever. We're happy to do that because that's what we like to do. We just like to talk about it. And so
that's why we're here.
Discord.
That's why the reason that we ended
literally
up
why
here
we're
is
here.
Because what did we end up doing all night? Well, we end up sitting talking about this stuff. So we thought, okay, let's just do it and put it on the internet, and maybe someone wants to listen. So if you like listening and you think that other people would like listening too, then show them, please.
Yes, we have faces that they need to see. Look, beautiful, pretty faces.
I have a quite elaborate facial thing going on right now.
Yeah, I just have a normal face. I don't have grown-up face. It's like a baby still.
This is getting
it's okay.
Gross,
I have a bald spot though, so that's adult.
Imagine having one of those.
Yeah, whoops.
Oops.
But yeah, as you can see, we're kind of funny as well. So, if you like making fun of us, then join the Discord too. No, but honestly, we have Twitter, we have TikTok, and we have Instagram. We're trying to make a little bit of a push on TikTok now because honestly, it seems to be the easiest way to get some spread, and we just want more people to be able to listen to us. So, if you have TikTok, follow us there and start sharing it with everybody.
We are currently at 96 followers. Just checking. So it would be great to get to 100 today.
I mean, for sure.
If there are 4, come on. If you're in the chat right now, if you're watching and you're not subscribed to it, then yeah, come on, get us to 100. That would be nice.
Imri's dissing us.
Now it's just
damn it, Imri. You're bald too. Look at that picture. Come on, man. Anyway, I think we're gonna round this off here because now we're just kind of just spewing words, and that's just weird. But yeah, and Silvio, I know. Whatever. We do have a link. It's right down. If you see this rolling thing at the bottom here, it says follow us on Twitter / X, and that's the username. And then there you go. So it's at Crypto TikToks. I think that's a really clever name, by the way. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So go in and follow us and spread the love. Okay. So we'll see you in Discord because we're going to jump right in there after this. So, all right.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.